Welcome back to Up to Something Outdoors. Today we have a very different video for you. You see me scrap a lot of boats, cutting a whole lot of boats up. This one, we're not cutting up. This is my 1958 Feathercraft Vagabond 2. It's an all aluminum boat with the curves in the stern, the tumble home, like a wood boat, like an old Chris Craft would have. I really enjoy this boat. It's been my hobby for the last 4 or 5 years, rebuilding it. Today I want to show you how I put a brand new piece of mahogany in here as a dash, as well as Teleflex steering. The piece of mahogany I got out of a 1965 Century that someone had decided to cut up. It was beyond saving. So I took one of the side pieces off and refinished it all to make it a dash for this boat, to let that boat live on in my boat. So this video is going to be the whole process. It's taken me several months to do. I started it back in the winter. It's not winter anymore. But that's because I've taken a lot of time doing it here and there. All the scrap boat videos have had priority, the maple syruping had priority, and then just life. So this has just been a back burner project. However, it's finally finished. Let me show you this piece of old mahogany into my dash. So I'm taking this piece off the side of an old Century boat from the 60s. I salvaged this piece. I'll show you what's left of it. But I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to cut this strip out for my project. I was initially going to take this one. I took all these screws out. But as you can see, that's going to be a lot of holes to plug. What I realized, I did this one here, is that they use mahogany plugs on this. So I want to see if I can cut this strip out as is, sand it down, and just leave the plugs and the brass screws in. It'll still work for my project. Let's see. And there we have it, 2 separate pieces. Man, that's some beautiful wood. Set this aside for another day. So you can see how this one, I got all of the screws out of it. Look how many holes there are. That's how a wood boat's made. So that is going to require a whole lot of work to plug to make it usable for what I want. Very nice piece of wood if I can cut the middle out, but I need the full width. So we're going to work on getting the rest of this stuff off of this as best I can, and then just sand this down lightly. I was trying to avoid this while cutting the piece in half, but as you can see, nice cross section of that brass screw. Another one there. You can see the hole from the past one right there. Thing about brass is it's soft enough that didn't damage my saw blade at all. Still pretty cool. Next up, took the helm off from here, stripped everything off the dash, made a cardboard template, and the rough piece of wood. I went with this one because the other one, while the holes were already plugged, the plugs were so thin that the moment you would run it through a planer, it was going to shred them, and you'll see the heads of the screws. So I went with the one I took all the screws out of. A friend of mine has the plugs that to make this one a bit deeper plugs. He's going to plug all the holes for me, plane it, so it's going to be ready to sand and stain. It's going to look a lot better than this dash with all the holes in it. Stay tuned. So this is what I'm working with, putting the new dash in. Used to be port side steering right here. Could not find a control box for the new Suzuki that was port side. So I'm switching everything over to the normal starboard side. These used to be gauge holes. I think they had a speedometer and actually a barometer, strangely enough. Here, now we're gonna put it in here. I am covering up this little glove box because I don't use it. And I like the look of the mahogany. So I want to put as much mahogany into it as possible. So what I'm first doing is going to dry fit it with clamps holding it in. Because I've got to figure out how to put the Teleflex steering in. Because I'm also upgrading the steering. This is the steering component for the new steering, the Teleflex, the cable steering. So ideally, I want to try to use one of those two holes that was here already and have this coming up through it. Now, given how short and small everything is, I need to try to get this up as high as I can to keep it off my knees. But then I need to have enough space so it's not hitting up here. So I got to crawl underneath, figure out where I got to put this, mark the hole so that I can drill the hole out for it. Extra work? Yeah. Gonna be worth it in the end? Absolutely. Make sure I get this to where I want it to be. Yep, like that. Now the tricky part's gonna be having to go underneath in order to see. This is what it looks like from the back side. This is where the steering mechanism is gonna be going through to get to my wheel. But the support bracket is in the way. I ground this rivet off. Now I gotta grind that one off to remove it. It's not a big one, and I think this glove box kind of idea is going to support the deck well enough for my purposes. I need to get this out of the way though. So now I'm gonna mark it from the back side. I'm gonna take it off and drill it from the front side. So I'm marking it right now, like that. There we go. Now, gonna finagle my way back out of here and come in from the front side. So there's my pilot. I think instead of taping, I'm just gonna go make sure I have it at a nice high speed before I go into it, because that's just to try to keep it from chipping up the mahogany. Presto bango. Hi. So let's dry fit this one more time. That, I'm going to try to see if I can angle it a little bit, because I think that will help keep it up off my knees. But if I have to go straight, I have to go straight. But that's how it's going to be. I'm hoping to reuse this wheel from my pulley and cable system. It's a Nautiloy from the 60s as well. Just like one of my past videos, 60s stuff from Atwood Sea Flight line. I got wood in here, all of my mahoganies from a 60s boat. Actually, two different 60s boats. I'm trying to give it that 60s flair. She might be a 1957, but I like the 60s flair. Just the bling. Looks cool. Alright, so now let's get the brackets and snug her in. These instructions are not exactly what you would consider good. Of course, that's probably what you get when you buy something on Amazon. Clearly from overseas. Actually, surprisingly though, that the instructions are fairly legible. I mean, but I'm not really understanding what is intended here. Because it mentions having a full-size template that you can use, but wasn't any in the box. So I'm not 100% sure here what goes where. So more dry fitting, temporary fitting, I should say. I'm not really sure. Definitely I think being the operative word here, I think it's designed. Oh, scratching the shit out of mine. I think it's designed to go something along these lines and then have bolts that go through here to snug it in. But that doesn't make a ton of sense to me either, because this bracket should hold it in place, I would have thought. But maybe not. I'm sure you'll see me fiddling with it a bit. Let's put this other clamp in. So, the more I look at this, I'm wondering if these are designed to snug the plate up to the housing. Well, it doesn't even look like it goes deep enough. I think it's designed to have a little bit more thickness to the dash. And then I think by putting these bolts through, you end up, which I think are these ones. You basically are locking it two different directions, I guess. Before I drill more holes, let me make sure I understand this correctly. It said a 2.5-inch center hole, which is what we got going here. These are supposed to go through this one, and this one. Okay, yes, I do believe these are supposed to mount this to this. I think what it's ends up going to be is like that. These are locked in here, then these get snugged up to the receiver, if you will, on the back side. Complicated. But I think I should be able to angle it a bit. Angle it up slightly like that, which should, again, in theory, help keep it off my knees just a little bit better. But it looks like right there is where we're going to need it. But of course, I set my drill down over there, and my drill bits right there. So just a moment. Alright, so that looks pretty level there. And let me just double check it's... Yep. Now let me put that in there. I've been trying to avoid drilling any more holes in that aluminum because, as you saw, it was already pretty much resembled Swiss cheese. But I also want this to be usable. The name of the game on this for me is I want this to be as reliable as possible. I don't want to be out on the water and have to be like, oh crap, my steering broke, or anything like that. I don't get to get out all that often, so when I do, I want to enjoy it without any worries, fuss, or bother. Which is part of the reason I'm switching to the Teleflex instead of the cable system anyways. The cable system had a lot of flex in it. It would wiggle a little bit. You had to move the wheel a bit to get the turning to happen. Oh, those are the wrong ones. So there's 3 of them. Here I am getting talking and it's these ones. I have to get the hole slightly bigger then. There was a lot of play in the old system, the cable system. Not a bad system. I like how it's very classic. I don't like having to have that much play in it. You could turn the wheel about this much without anything happening at all. And that's just not ideal to me. I should go back up to the house and get a slightly bigger drill bit. That would be thinking. That's probably why I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to waller this around. And I got wrenches, which are, of course, a size too small. So it looks like I'm going up to the house anyways. Be back with you. One thing about wallering out the holes instead of actually getting the right size drill bit that I like, it's just personal preference, but I like how it keeps the bolt pretty snug in there. Like, I have to use the socket to even get this thing in, which, annoying perhaps. I think it gives a little bit tighter and cleaner fit. Personal preference. I'm sure some of you in the comments will tell me how I'm wrong. Perfectly fine. I like it, but alrighty. Now let's get that one a little tighter. Now, actual Teleflex actually makes this, of course, and that's a good product. It was $236 for this one from Teleflex. Amazon had this one for $119, I think it was. Can't beat that. It's obviously not the quality I would anticipate from the actual Teleflex, but half the price. Now, like anything, you get trade-offs, right? I'm sure the Teleflex is a much heavier duty. It's gonna last better. This thing said it was supposed to handle up to a 150 horse engine. She's got a 25 on her. Not too worried about it. Alright, now torquing that down, it looks like I am just a little off on that one. We'll pretend we didn't see that. Expertly redrilling. Ooh, this one's going to be tight on the back there. It's probably why they said not to have this installed yet, but oops. Yeah, maybe. Certainly wouldn't accuse this of being too large of a boat. Alrighty. So, part of the reason all this is difficult is it says right here, locate the full-size mounting template at the desired location. Wasn't any in the box. So, kind of figuring it out on my own, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But still not 100% sure what those screws are for, but I'm sure we'll find that out eventually. Alright, so that is facing the right direction. Had I been thinking, I would have gone and gotten the right size socket for this while I was up at the shop still, but yeah. No, that would have been thinking. But if I'm going to keep that up at an angle like that, instead of dropping her flush, actually I need to back this one back out. Which does need the correct wrench size. Oh, well, I can get it out with my hand. I think what I'm going to do, at least to try, is use one of these supplied washers. So we're not talking of needing a whole lot of an angle, but just enough of an angle where the shaft comes out slightly at an angle. Might end up needing 2 washers, but we'll see. All right, another trip to the parts store. That is to say, the shop. Now, it's probably not going to surprise any of you. I did bring the 3/8 inch socket out just in case, but nope, no dice. It's in millimeters, as would be expected, I suppose. Alrighty. So one washer did put it at a bit of an angle, but I think I'm going to try 2, just in case. I want just a little bit more angle. But I'm doing it wrong, aren't I? If I want to tighten that up, that's not going to do me any good. I need the washer on the back side of that one, if that's what I'm going to do. Right, let me see here, let me think. Yep. All right. If I'm going to get the angle I'm wanting, what I need to do is put it between, on the top one, between that back, or between the plate and this, which is going to be very, very tricky. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get to it, but I'm going to try. Well, never going to see that one again. Or that one. I think what I'm going to do, because that's clearly not working well, let's pull this one out as well. That. Pull this completely off for a moment. Stick this through. And try it again. Just a little play in it. Snug these up a little bit more. Not a lot of play. It's not bad. There we go. So, now what do? Yeah, about what you'd expect. Just at a scotch of an angle up, which I think ought to do the trick pretty good. Hopefully. It's minor, but it figured it's just a little bit easier to get at the wheel or to fit the wheel over it, so figured I'd try it. Yeah, wrong size. Again. Seem to be doing pretty good at that today, having the wrong size. But the end result is going to be something like that. Hopefully. We'll find out. So this is the Nautiloy wheel that I'm putting into it, this helm. It's an all aluminum helm. Pretty sharp looking. But given how small this boat is, this bottom section is going to be hitting my knees while I'm running it. Also, they made this one where it was basically cut off here, 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 and here. And so you just had this center yoke section looking an awful lot like an airplane. They made them factory this way from Nautiloy, this way, and like I said, just the center section. So I'm going to cut this one off on all these spots, make it fancy, you know, clean it up, make it look nice, repaint it before I stick it on. So I've got the cable fed through, and this is how it looks. Basically, I'm going to be feeding it through the top section here. It's going to wind itself as I wind the steering wheel through here, come out this side. Alright, go ahead and turn it. Other way. Yep, I'm just going to slowly wind it in. As my assistant slowly turns the... Well, I don't know. Can't really call it a wheel anymore. So the last step in getting this Teleflex style steering in is putting this shaft through the tube here on the motor and connect. It has a nice lift point on it. Given this transom cap here and the curvatures of this Feathercraft, really beautiful styling. I love it. It's actually why I bought this boat. I just love the style. Makes it kind of hard. So I'm going to lift this engine up a few inches, probably I'm thinking 4 or 5 inches. Should be enough for me to thread this through here and get it hooked up. Alrighty, I'm going to grease up the shaft here a bit. Probably going to put a little extra on than I think I need. I'd rather have a little extra than not enough in this instance. Scotch higher, looks like. And it seems like I did it wrong, but oh well, let's try it anyways. Like that. Well, it looks like I shifted it slightly, so let's put it back on. Well, that's what they say. That's what's called not going according to plan. Yeah, not according to plan. I love using chains But sometimes they're just a pain in the rear. Like I hooked that one on really nicely, I thought. Slipped twice. I don't get it. At least it didn't smash the skeg, so there's that. But see, like now it acts like it's on there pretty well, but alrighty. I'm going to need assistance getting this back down because I'm going to have to hold it. It looks like it doesn't want to drop level. So my videographer is going to help me. We'll be right back. Just give myself some more. So that gone with the cable and pulley system. Now we have Teleflex steering. But that is going to be a problem. I don't have room for it to travel this far that way. I think I'm going to have to try to find a shorter one of these, because I've got a fair bit of travel there. But I don't know that that's going to be enough. Because I'm not going to be able to turn very far that way like that, that's for sure. Interesting. Here's the finished product. Shiny, matching my deck boards with the Nautiloy. Well, not really a wheel anymore. It's more of a aircraft style. I think that just goes along with the whole 60s theme of the boat. She's a beauty. Now she's been in barn over winter. Needs a washing. But it will be a fun boat on the water this summer. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.